A very good day I bid to Dr. Sharon and my fellow audience. My name is Pavetheran and today I will be talking on how the Malaysian school system divides Malaysians. I strongly believe that unity is something that is self-instilled into children from a very young age. And where else do children spend most of their childhood if not with their friends and in school? First and foremost, the Malaysian schooling system. We have the national schools, or known as Sekolah Kebangsaan, and also the vernacular schools. These vernacular schools are branched into two, Tamil and Chinese schools. They have been in Malaysia for a very long time since the British brought workers over from India and China into Malaysia. I, for one, have been in a national school from primary 1. During my days, there were very few non-Muslims in the national school and we made friends with mostly Malay kids without the regard of race and religion. We mostly spoke the national language Bahasa Malaysia and also English to our friends. This is my high school, by the way. It can't be said the same for vernacular schools. While they might be friends with everyone, they mostly use their mother tongue to converse, either Tamil or Chinese. This would be fine in their primary school, but you can note a huge difference when they enter into the secondary school. They would be so used to their mother tongue that they might be awkward to converse with other students from different schooling backgrounds. Based on my own schooling days, students tend to stick with their friends that they are comfortable with. The Indians would group up and converse in Tamil, and so do the Chinese students. And me, I would stick with my Malay friends as I was comfortable speaking in Malay, and honestly, I had a really hard time talking in Tamil properly in school. Hence, the topic at hand: how could youngsters of different races and backgrounds socialize together in order to achieve unity if everyone is so used to their own community? I agree that having these two different schooling systems is resulting in children being divided. They don't get the exposure to talking in our national language on a daily basis. Let's talk about the differences of these two schools. The only major difference is that vernacular schools offer an extra subject, which is the Tamil or Chinese language. Obviously, most parents would want their children to be able to read and write in their mother tongue. Hence, their preference to send their kids to these vernacular schools. Why else do parents choose to send their kids to vernacular schools? Getting the proper education on an extra language is definitely a huge advantage in today's world. It plays a major role in getting employed. It can't be denied being able to read, write, and converse fluently in Mandarin these days is especially sought after by employees. And because of this reason, we can see a rise in the number of students of other races attending Chinese vernacular schools. Knowing that their children would be equipped with Mandarin in their future gives them an advantage further down the line. I am not saying this is wrong, but it partially contributes to students being divided. Myself, for instance, I took years to be able to make Indian and Chinese friends during my high school. I had Indian and Malay friends from Chinese schools who only had Chinese friends growing up. They had a difficult time normalizing speaking Malay on a daily basis and making new friends. How could unity be achieved if this is the case nationwide? This has been an ongoing problem for years now. There have been calls from Malaysians to abolish these vernacular schools and come up with a new and revised schooling system. Opposing that call has been the non-Muslim communities who strongly believe that vernacular schools should be maintained as it is their right according to the constitution. Not only the people but politicians and academicians all over the country has been gushing towards this movement to abolish vernacular schools. They have pointed out that having these different schools is being a thorn in achieving unity in our multiracial country. It is vital that the Malaysian education system is desegregated as soon as possible. Recently, the Kuala Lumpur High Court have officially declared that Chinese and Tamil vernacular schools are valid based on the Malaysian Constitution and does not challenges Bahasa Malaysia as a national language, even though most of the times Mandarin and Tamil are used to teach the students. This is because vernacular schools are not government entities. Can't be ignored that national school does not have any problems at all. The government constantly urged the people to attend national school as they quote that the education offered there is better. But it is a known fact that these national schools do not provide the uniform education on mother tongues that vernacular schools has to offer. So, how does the government expect parents to choose national schools instead? Government can argue that national schools offer these languages via the People's Own Language program. But honestly, how many of you have heard of this POL? I had Tamil POL classes when I was in primary, but it was very, very inefficient. How is it the same if the parents have to request for these classes themselves and it would only be allowed if we had a minimum number of students? Another effort introduced by the government is the Sekolah Wawasan. It is a schooling area that consists of a national, a Tamil, and a Chinese vernacular school all next to each other. This effort was said to promote unity as they share several facilities such as a canteen and a field. But we can count the number of Sekolah Wawasan in Malaysia with our hands. So to what extent does it promote unity? Other than that, there have been many cases of racial discrimination occurring in these national schools. This is due to the small number of non-Muslim students attending them. Recently, it has been viral in Twitter that non-Muslims are forced to eat in a special room due to the canteen being closed during the fasting month. How will the parents and children feel when they are being treated in this way? Since I do not have much time left, I'll start wrapping it up. I strongly believe that the Malaysian school system is dividing Malaysians and it is a challenge to unity. But as the constitution says that vernacular school cannot be abolished, I stand by that too. It is a right to non-Muslims to have their vernacular schools. So, how do we come up with a solution to this problem? The answer: offer what is available in vernacular schools compulsory in national schools as well. If Tamil and Mandarin languages are included in national schools for the non-Muslims permanently, I believe that Indian and Chinese parents would definitely be more open to sending their children to the national schools. Even though achieving unity is very subjective, I really hope that racial discrimination does not keep going on in our future generations. Unity should be installed into children from a really early age. It is the responsibility of our parents and teachers to educate the children that we are all Malaysians at the end of the day, and we should live with each other respectfully. Thank you.